Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self to ultimately create the life that you desire and deserve. As I do in all of my readings, I pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second. But I still have the tarot deck I'll be using, the clarification deck, and the advice deck I will be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. The last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. All right, Aries. In your recent past, you have shadow work with the 10 of Swords. I feel like you are coming out of a pretty dark period here, a very painful period. I feel as if this period in your life really pushed you into a lot of inner work and kind of made you face the fear and face parts of yourself that maybe you didn't want to face, and kind of doing the hard stuff here. And although it was challenging, I feel like it is very much going to be worth it in the end. It always is. Growth is never, no one has ever grown or healed and gotten to a place in their life where they're like, man, I really wish I didn't grow. It's always worth it in the end. Maybe in the middle of it, you're like, man, this sucks and I wish I wasn't going through this. But in the end, you're always like, okay, that was worth it. In your current energy, you have changes with the Ace of Swords here. So I feel like you're going through some changes in your life that are leading you to clarity. Like, I feel like you're needing kind of a breakthrough, a moment of clarity here. And I feel like, I don't know if it's a clarity about things that need to change or if it's changes leading to clarity, actually. Now I'm confused on that. It could be both. I feel like we'll get more, obviously, when we dive into tarot, but I do definitely feel like right now is, I don't know if it's like, it feels like breakthrough is what you're experiencing in your current energy, whether you're there or not. Like, that's what you can expect. Now, your overall energy is power. So it's a good break. It feels like a very positive breakthrough here. And it's a breakthrough that allows you to step into your power a little bit more, because then in your immediate future, you have take a risk with the 7 of Pentacles. So I feel like this power that you are stepping into here is what is going to allow you to move forward in a more confident direction, taking a risk and investing in things that maybe you wouldn't have if you weren't as confident in yourself and your abilities, and if you didn't feel as powerful as all of this is making you. So I feel like this is like the result of what you're kind of going through, and it's only going to lead to good things. But right now it probably feels pretty challenging. But yeah, let's connect the dots. Let's see what's going on. Let's start here, Aries, which with your recent past, you have shadow work with the 10 of Swords. Recent past for Aries. Shadow work with the 10 of Swords. Things fell apart. I mean, yeah, I feel like there's no other way to say that. It feels like a part of your life, a relationship, a career, a path. It just feels like things fell apart here. And it was very hard. Again, I feel like this really was like a turning point in your life in terms of what it led to, like inner work, inner healing wise. But it's a good turning point, even if it didn't really feel like that at the time that you were experiencing it. What else does Aries need to know about their recent past? Ooh, your soul is burnt out, drained by something. Your soul was drained by something, and then it fell apart. And it feels like you've been having a really hard time taking your power back since this all went down. because of how much it affected you on such a deep level here. And it feels like ever since this happened, I don't know, it could feel like your happiness or your ability to be loved or experience joy in the way that you once did, like it feels like you lost a lot of those things. You haven't. It just feels like that. But yeah, this is some challenging stuff here. Now I feel like you've learned a lot through it. You know, I look back on my life, and some of the hardest things I've been through were some of the best things that ever happened to me because of the growth that took place through those experiences and how I was able to transmute it into something positive. What else does Aries need to know about their recent past? My gosh, so many reverse cards. Holding on to things. Holding on to something that I feel like was causing you a lot of pain. That's what it was. You were forced into an experience that it like made you let go of something or someone that was causing you a lot of pain here, because your soul was drained. It couldn't take it anymore. That's why things fell apart. It's like you were pushed into this energy of having to let go so that you could create something better, because your energy was being taken up so much by something that was really just creating and causing you a lot of suffering. But I mean, you had to work through a lot with this experience. I feel like it was really quite painful. Okay, so let's shift gears here. What does Aries need to know about where they're at now? If that's in the past, where are you at now, and why is that relevant to where you're going? What does Aries need to know about their current energy? Current energy for Aries. Oh my goodness. So you're in recovery mode. You're just trying to recover from this. And I feel like you've been stuck in this Three of Swords energy for a very long time, and it feels like you'll never get out. Like things will never be better. It's this energy of taking your power back, because I feel like, or needing to take your power back, because I feel like whatever the situation was, it took a lot from you. It took a lot from you. And now you're trying to get it back, or trying to feel okay again or stable again. This is intense. I'm speaking to an Aries collective who has been going through it. But you have this changes card, which to me is saying that things can change and are changing. You just might not fully realize it yet. Let me get more. Current energy for Aries. The Magician. See, things are still on track, just not in the way that you had hoped. Now, that's not a bad thing. You know, we have to learn to identify the difference between hope and fear. Okay? Hope is saying, I really need things to work out this way. I need this specific outcome, and I need it to happen by this specific time, and if it doesn't, enter a worst case scenario. Faith is coming from this place of saying, I trust that everything is working out for my highest good, regardless of what that looks like in the moment. And the universe is saying, how you hoped things were going to work out, that didn't happen. So now you're needing to tap into faith that although they didn't work out the way that you wanted, that they're happening in a way that might actually be better for you. Because if your soul was already drained from this before things fell apart, then it obviously was creating more pain and negative energy in your life than good before you were forced to kind of let it go. So that's what this is about, getting clarity on why things had to change. And understanding that there might have actually very much been some divine protection at play here. I feel like things actually changed for the better. Yeah, because there's the Ace of Swords in reverse. This is what you're having a hard time seeing. And the Ace of Swords is getting clarity on understanding why things changed. Because with this Magician, the universe is like, okay, you asked for unconditional love. You asked to be loved unconditionally in the way that you deserve, but that person that you were investing in wasn't able to do that. You asked for financial freedom, but that career path that you were on wasn't capable of providing you with that. So what you're wanting in the end is still happening. It's just not happening in the way that you hoped. Now, that doesn't make it any less painful. That doesn't mean you just need to get over it, right? You're a human having very real, very valid human experiences. So you've got to feel everything that comes with that. You can't just, override the healing, because the healing is the point. But I feel like at the back of your mind, you can know that things are actually working out. They are. And you have the power to take what you've been through and understand, like, okay, yeah, this didn't work out, but I understand why. I understand why that divine protection came into play and why this happened the way that it did, or it's teaching me what it needs to, because now I know how I can redirect my energy next time, or moving forward, what I need to do different. And that's where your power lies. Your power lies in learning from your past experiences so that you can approach things from a different perspective, from a different place. Your power isn't what happens to you. Your power is what you do with what happens to you, how you respond. That's where you create, is in your response to what you're experiencing. So the Magician is here. The universe is saying you're still creating what it is that you desire. In fact, things kind of had to fall apart so that you could have what you desire. Current energy for Aries. That's too much. That's too much at one time. Okay, clear, concise messages for Aries current energy. I was like, that's hard for me. Okay. Right now is a time of reprioritizing, reorganizing, reapproaching. Because in your past, there's this energy of prioritizing something that wasn't serving you, something that was adding a lot of pain to your experience, over like yourself, over your own needs, over your own desires, over your own happiness. And that's why these things weren't able to work out, because and that's what you're needing to see. Your priorities need to be different, and you, Aries, need to be not one of them. At least like you got to be further up on that list than you have been, because you have not been your priority. And anything that has required you to sacrifice your worth, your well-being, your mental and your emotional well-being isn't going to be sustainable for the long term, because again, this was draining your soul before it fell apart. This was hurting you before you were forced to, or have been forced to let go of it. And it makes sense that you're hurting and you're valid in your pain, but you can also understand why this might not have been what is best for you in the long run. Like staying in this situation, why all of like what's happening might actually be what's best for you in the long run. So taking your power back is about realizing that you're the co-creator of your own life. And when we are settling in experiences that don't serve us, that hurt us more than help us, that take from us more than reciprocate us, the universe will not let you stay there. It will throw tower moment after tower moment your way until you move. Because the universe doesn't want you to experience this kind of energy. So now you're being asked to change things moving forward. That's what this take a risk energy is about. Redirecting your approach, changing the way that you invest. So what does that really mean? What does Aries need to know moving forward? justice. Accountability. That's why it's so important to learn why things had to change in the past. Like why the universe removed you from something, so that you can make sure you don't end up in that same place moving forward. So that you can get what it is that you deserve. So, one of the hardest things about growth is being willing to look at ourselves through the lens of radical honesty. And being willing to say, yeah, I accepted way less than what I deserved because I didn't think I could experience more. Or I stayed in places that I didn't belong because I didn't believe that I belonged anywhere. Or I sabotaged or pushed something away because I didn't believe I was deserving of it, and in the process I hurt somebody. Whatever the case might be, we have to be willing to recognize the things that we do so that we can adjust that behavior moving forward. But the thing is, the things that we go through in our life and the outcomes of that, they're always an opportunity. It's always an opportunity for growth. It's always an opportunity for us to take that experience and turn it into something positive. But if we are not willing to see that as an opportunity, we will stay stuck in repeating the same experiences over and over and over again. I see this with people that are like, I always get cheated on, or I'm always attracting emotionally unavailable people, or I'm always struggling financially. And that's because if you aren't looking at what is within your control and what you can change so that these things don't repeat, then you're going to stay stuck in those cycles. And that's kind of the whole point of life, is recognizing that you actually have more power than you think when it comes to creating the life that you deserve, but it's not power over what happens to you or over other people. It's power in how you respond and how you show up and what you do moving forward. And if we show up with the same mindset and habits and behaviors and routine, and we do the same things over and over and over again, we will continue to get the same exact results, and things will repeat, and they'll continue to repeat until we do something about it. So as you move forward, this is asking yourself, what can I do differently next time? For me, first thing that comes to mind is when I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for way longer than I should have been. And I stayed in that relationship knowing full well that I was being treated poorly. And I allowed that person to treat me poorly, but I stayed thinking that maybe this person would change. And by the end of this connection, my soul was completely drained. I felt like I was absolutely nobody. I was nothing. But that person ended up leaving me. They treated me poorly, and then I ended up being the one who got left. And it destroyed me emotionally for a really long time. And I spent a very, very long time very, very angry at that person, rightfully so for the way that I was treated. But that didn't ever heal anything. I had trust issues. I couldn't connect with anybody else emotionally. And it took me a really long time to recognize that the role that I played in that was staying because I didn't believe that I was deserving of anything more. I didn't believe that more was possible for me. I was trying to change a really crappy situation into something better because I thought that was my only shot. And I had to address a lot of these things and understand where these things came from and what they were, what the root of them were and what they were trying to protect me from. And there was a lot of healing and self-compassion and growth that came with that experience. But when I got to the other side of it, I learned what I will never do again in my relationships, which is accept anything less than what I have to give or be treated anything less than respect and with love. And when I decided and made these realizations for myself, the relationships around me, I started to attract the ones that did reflect that back. But I had to start getting picky about what I was willing to accept because I said, I'm never going to go back there. And when we're willing to do that and look at, what has happened to us and look at the role that we played and what we can control, we take our power back. But when we're so stuck on what they should have done different or what should have been different outside of us, we feel powerless because we're so focused on how we're the victim, even if we are a victim. We're so focused on how we're the victim that we feel as if we have no power and no control at all, which is going to make it incredibly difficult moving forward because we're not going to trust ourselves. We're not going to trust anyone. Because, so that's why some of the worst things that ever happened to us are an opportunity to be. I look back at that relationship, I am so grateful for that experience. At the time, worst thing that ever happened to me. But I'm so grateful for that experience because of how I grew and what I get to experience now because of what I learned. So, when we're willing to kind of look at things differently, we can approach our life from a different perspective as we move forward, which is going to allow us to change the outcome. What does Aries need to know moving forward? Make a decision to choose yourself. That's the risk. Isn't that crazy? That's the risk here, Aries, is choosing yourself, prioritizing yourself, putting your needs first, respecting your value regardless of who does or doesn't. And those things are hard to do. You know, we spend so much of our life waiting for other people to see us, to value us, to love us in the way that we deserve. Meanwhile, what we're actually waiting on is for us to do those things. We're waiting for our boss to finally see that we're deserving of that raise, and we stay year after year and continue to get treated poorly, wondering why our value isn't being seen, when in reality that person was never really planned on valuing you anyway. You know, some people in some situations are meant to teach us that we need to choose ourselves, regardless of the cost. And understanding that it's not choosing yourself to harm others, right? It's not putting yourself first to the extent that it harms others. It's putting yourself first to the extent that it doesn't harm you. You've been harmed by not choosing yourself, by not valuing yourself. And you've done it because you thought you had to. Okay, you're not doing it because you hate yourself or you are stupid. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. You know, so much of the time when I talk about accountability, I'm not talking about blaming yourself and shaming yourself and making yourself feel bad for the decisions that you've made. You wouldn't know now what you know if you hadn't gone through what you did. You know, we are always making the best decision that we know how to make in each and every moment with the knowledge and the tools that we have. Not always saying it's the right decision, but it's always the best one that we know how to make. And you wouldn't learn from that decision if you hadn't have made that decision. So if you're looking back and you're saying, I shouldn't have stayed, or I shouldn't have given them another chance, or I shouldn't have done this, or I should have left, or blah, 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 that's in the past. Now you know moving forward what to do different. And in this reading, it's saying taking accountability for the way that you didn't value yourself, which is hard. It's hard, Aries. It's hard to do that. But when we're willing to do that, we will no longer undervalue ourselves moving forward, because you will say, I'm not going back there. I don't want to experience that again. I know what undervaluing myself gets, and I don't want to experience that. All right. What else does Aries need to know moving forward? I feel like this is you taking your freaking power back, and I love it because, you know, I feel like you guys have been, based on this reading, hurting for a very long time, and you deserve to not anymore and to experience the light at the end of the tunnel, which is absolutely what I feel this is talking about. All right. There you are. Queen of Wands. Oh my gosh, literally, Four of Wands. I mean, this kind of does feel like light at the end of the tunnel kind of energy, you know, the finish line, if you will. And then here you are, Queen of Wands, whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter. I know I talked about the Empress here, but it can resonate. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us, so but I love this. This really is it's like light at the end of the tunnel as you move forward, but that's only going to come as you continue, you know, to learn what you need to learn and grow in the ways that you need to grow. So you've been doing the shadow work, you've been doing the healing, and if you've been doing those things, you can ensure that you know, you're gonna get to the end of that tunnel. If you haven't been doing the work, that's okay. It's not that you're screwed, but there's a need to turn inward and to figure out, you know, what you can do to help yourself as you progress. I highly recommend a shadow work journal. There's a ton of them out there. I have a few that I've picked through. You know, I think that just whatever can allow you to work through some of those things can drastically help you as you move forward. But okay, I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We focused on what you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. The extended is what you can do right now to ensure you're moving forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Aries, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Aries, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aries.